So hopefully now all the students have looked at the word bank and they've put it into the exact categories of whether it is a state power, federal power, or concurrent power. Just for understanding, I assume that you all cross this out, and now as we transfer down here to the concurrent state and federal powers, you will have the answers right here. As we continue to scroll down, I have provided little examples just so you make sure. Your concurrent powers go right here in the concurrent section. Remember, you can make more spaces with the black marker. State powers go here and federal powers go there. As we transition to part 2, it's a little bit more difficult, but part 2, students actually have the opportunity to pick which vocab words they are going to be using. I asked that students pick one word from this list, regulate, delegate, reserve, nominate, and I asked that every student uses as their third word checks and balances. So they can write their first word here, their second word here, and then of course every student will use checks and balances. You may have seen earlier that you can, as students write their vocab titles here, that each section actually provides 5 unique sized spaces. Using that picture, students can look and see that the 5 spaces will help students have room to put their definitions, synonyms, antonyms, use the word in a sentence, and provide a picture. As teachers, this is similar to a Freyer model, but maybe just a little bit more creative way. In all actuality, instead of doing this for 3 vocab words, you could pick 6, 9, or 12 and make this an entire academic vocabulary unit. But this is just one piece of the project that I thought of for this unit. So students should actually have the title where it says picture, antonym, because it helps the teachers understand, do you know if this is an antonym of the word regulate or delegate, or is it a synonym? So actually students should put the titles as I indicated right here, and as it says, your vocabulary sections should look like this. I'm going to continue to scroll down to part 3. Part 3 is about the 3 branches of government, LEJ, legislative, executive, judicial, and we can see, as before, we're going to put the titles around, and I provide a word bank. Now you'll notice these 3 has equal power to the other branches, has limited power, and is located in DC. I put ×3 because it could go into all 3 categories. So you would, for example, you would put House of Representatives. Does that go in the judicial branch, executive, or legislative? You have to match these in the correct category. So I'll pause the video while students can do that now. After students are done moving these into the correct section, they should be crossed out, and students should have transferred their answers to their graphic organizer. And again, I placed arrows in this video to help students understand that it goes right here. All the executive branch answers goes there, all the judicial branch answers go there, then the legislative answers go in this category. And of course, students can make more spaces with a black marker or a black pen. Continuing to part 4, while the titles are the same, what students are actually going to do is a little bit different. And this is probably the most complicated section. But you see I provided, there's 2 tasks involved. Here's the word bank. They're going to do the same thing. They're going to put the words in the appropriate category. But I really wanted our students to understand the processes of which things happen in our government. So using a red arrow to indicate the process, and you can mix these up too, but they have to understand what happens first. Are they nominated, approved, or do they become a Supreme Court justice, and which branch do they originate in? So in these blanks, they're going to be writing either legislative, judicial, or executive, and they're going to be doing the same here. Now we'll give you a clue and say that the arrows probably will be going in separate directions. So I generally, for my word banks, I don't usually put letters, but I was running out of space, so we're going to act like we did this here. And now that the processes are completed, you can see the answers are here. And again, these are going to go into the appropriate section just as the other ones have. Now, after all the 4 pieces of the shell are put together, your shell should look just like this. And of course, it'll all be filled in. So now we're going to do the limbs and the turtle head. We're going to complete part 5. Part 5 is, so now we're going to complete part 5, the turtle limbs and the head. The body parts I put here, the head, the leg, and you will see on the essential question, I want you to leave this blank, and I provided some examples here. So what it will look like. This will be completely blank. This leg will have this question on it. This leg will have this question on it. This leg will have this question on it. And I just put the answers below. Now, each question has been supported with an answer, a sentence frame rather, that students can fill in. So on the head, under the face and the eyes and the mouth, it should just say name, date, period, and teacher. And then under the leg, students can start with their sentence frames, but they are responsible for filling in the accurate answers to their questions once they're done. And when they're done with this, they can then tape or glue their legs appropriately to the shell. And that's what it should look like. Finally, as we move to part 6, it's semi-complicated, but I will say you start with these 2 sheets of paper, you cut them up into the appropriate circles, as the construction video says. You put a little pin there, it spins around with it. Remember, you're going to cut out each section. So these 2 are going to come together and eventually look like this. Now, you'll notice this has 3 levels, top, middle, and below, and there are 3 levels of government, federal, state, and local. And there's plenty of spaces, but we're going to write our questions, and then next to it, students are going to be able to rotate as a little study guide tool. They're going to be able to rotate the turtle's stomach and see the answer to each question. So there's 5 questions, 3 levels of government. This is in total a 15-question study guide. So before I expose all the federal answers, I'm going to give a chance just to read these questions and to answer them as well. Remember, we're answering them in the next space. So here's the answers to the federal. Now showing the 5 state questions relevant to our state of Virginia. I will give students a minute just to answer it. And here's the answers to the state as well. Finally, the local government questions. And the answers to the local government questions. When completed, you can when completed with the stomach section, students can tape to the middle, bottom of the shell, and then this should be able to freely move and spin as a study guide, and students should be able to see the completed turtle project as intended. All materials and supplies, extra copies are below, and if teachers need anything, they can feel free to reach out to me for any additional help or resources. Thank you, and have a wonderful day.